In the news, we got 4 stocks that are blazing hot. They're on fire. Now, is this fire going to continue to spread, or is it going to get extinguished? Let's find out. Welcome to the newsroom. We got 4 stocks that are super hot today. They're blazing hot. You can't touch them because your wallet will explode in a good way. Now let's find out what are the reasons why these stocks moved. Let's look at some technicals and some price targets. Okay, the first company we have is ticker MARA, M-A-R-A, Marathon Patent Group. This thing is going ballistic today. It's one of the few NASDAQ-listed cryptocurrency mining companies in the United States. Today announced the purchase of 700 next generation M31Ss. Y'all know about the M31Ss. Now, I believe it moves in parallel with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin moves up, this will move up because it's connected in a way. They just got more of these stations, these mining stations. It's boosting the stock up. Obviously, today that's happening. Now, I'll be the first to say, I don't know much about these mining stations. I know a little bit about Bitcoin, but these stations, it's all new to me. I don't care if they have M31s, M35s, ASIC miners, micro BTs, any keywords you use and there's potential to make money, I'm buying it. These big words, they don't scare me. I invest in biotechs where they name all these crazy words, these wacky scientists. I still buy it. If there's potential, I'm in. Upon delivery and installation of the 1,360 miners due to arrive in August, the company will have 2,060 miners operational. As a result, the company's aggregate hash brown capacity would increase by 320%, blah, blah, blah. Based on current Bitcoin prices, the company would expect to become cash flow positive. Listen, you could say hash browns, you could say Krispy Kremes. All these big words, I don't care. The last sentence is the important one. Based on current Bitcoin prices, the company would expect to become cash flow positive. Why do you think it's up today? That's why it's up. No one knows what hash browning means. No one knows what an M32 is. But they know cash flow positive, and that's a green flag. Now let's look at the technicals for MARA, which is what I'm familiar with. You miners, you stick to your M31 hash browns, I'll stick to technicals. Either way, it could be a buy. Now, the stock was at $2 the other day. It went to almost $5. Now it's trading at 364 with about 10 minutes left till market close. Now we have a few scenarios. Looking at scenario 1, we have a gap close. This stock could pull all the way down to $2. If you're in it, I get it. You think that's ugly. But listen, on this channel, I do bearish and bullish scenarios. I'm unbiased, the unbiased network. So scenario 1, we got the gap close down to 2. Scenario 2, we could retest highs. Now if we retest highs, this needs to pull around hard, which a lot of people are selling off to lock in profits. A lot of them. They're up double. But if this thing can make a turnaround, if enough people get out and investors come in because they like it, Bitcoin could be huge again. I'm thinking that if this thing can turn around, it might hit 5. So we have 5 on the upside and 2 on the downside. Now, this could also do a scenario 3, which is a fake out. It could shoot up. $4 would be a good exit, because sometimes when these stocks come down, they usually have a little bounce and then they come all the way down. So it could do a fake out. Now, if we look closer, we can see that the volume has dramatically increased, and for good reason, because of what's happening with the news. And the other thing to watch, we got strong support at 340. Now, if this 340 breaks, we could get that bearish scenario where it tests 2. If it heads up, again, we could test 4 and come down, or we could break through the new highs. All right, that's it for Marathon. On to the next one. We got a company called ADT. If you don't know what ADT is, which I don't know why you wouldn't, it's one of the most popular security systems you could install. So I know that when I get free stocks on Robinhood, they usually give me ADT, and I'm like, boring, sell. I wish I held it, because this thing's up massively on the news from Google. ADT shares soar 80% pre-market on news of venture with Google to create smart home security product. Okay, so this old dog, boring ass ADT, is now in partnerships with Google. No wonder this thing skyrocketed. Google invests $450 million in ADT for smart home distribution. Massive news. Now looking at this chart, you see this little pin, this little red pin? Like it literally looks like a rocket, like the tail of the rocket, the little thrusters. Or it looks like what I like to call a shooting star. It's out in the distance. It's just whoop, way above the horizon. like all stocks, when they shoot up too fast, they tend to fall just as fast. So that could be a scenario of a strong pullback all the way back to close that gap to 8. And I would actually personally like to get into this stock if that happened, because they're partnered with Google, and these two megas together as one, that could be huge. Zooming in, we have another volume boost at the bottom for good reason again. This thing has been flatlined and boring for quite some time. Volume is poured in. Now they got all the techies looking at them. Everyone that invests in tech, oh, they're with Google? Buy. Anything related to Google, it's a buy, buy, buy. What's going to happen going forward? Is this stock going to continue to just pull all the way back, or is it going to set up for another run? I think another run. $18 price target, short term. Yes, ADT doesn't move that rapid, but this thing went from 8 to 17, almost 18. So it's finding really solid support here on the bottom at 13, and it's flagging. You know, when it flags, it usually always breaks out. And I think it's going to break out to the upside rather than the downside, because it's with Google. It's not a pump and dump. Google don't do that. Moving on to the next one, Plug. Now, if you don't know what Plug Power is, they are an electrical equipment manufacturing company. Plug Power is an American company engaged in the design and manufacturing of hydrogen fuel cell systems that replace conventional batteries in equipment and vehicles powered by electricity. Ding, 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 EV, keyword. Big news. So the reason why they're running today, Plug Power brings hydrogen fuel cells to leading UK supermarket retailer Asda. Don't really know who Asda is, but they might be big in the UK. Barb, I feel like Barb is intentionally trying to get my videos. What are you doing, Barb? All right, now looking at the chart for Plug, we got strong support at 7. This one flagged. I didn't draw it on here, but it did flag, and then it broke out at 7 and shot up to 9.15. Now we have a strong support and resistance in this parallel dimension. Where is it going to go? So the bullish move would obviously be to break out of 9.50 resistance and head to newer highs, test the highs of 10.50, or go beyond. A bearish move would be to test a micro support, which is a little thin support, a little spaghetti noodle. It's not a brick. It's a spaghetti noodle. So if it's going to test that spaghetti noodle, 820 is the micro support. If it could bounce off that, I'd be surprised, because usually spaghetti noodles, they just crack. Now, if it does crack, it breaks through, it could test 7, which is the stronger support. Now, that would continue to cool down, but this thing bounced so aggressively today, I don't see it coming down to 7. I see this thing chopping around 8. All right, last but not least, we got a company called CBAY. So ticker, CBAY, therapeutic company. Clinical stage biopharmaceutical company focused on developing and providing therapeutics or therapies to treat liver and other chronic diseases. So they're in the news because they've announced positive top-line results from Enhance for their drug. I'm not going to pronounce any of this because scientists wrote it and I don't like them. Let's look at the technicals. So we got Head and Shoulders. Formed beautifully, but those that shorted that last shoulder, you might have got screwed because it was a fake out. This thing went up, $4.95. Now, I don't know if it pulled down. Market's closed now, but we got strong support here at $4.63. It may bounce off that. It may not. Bearish scenario, this thing just tumbles right through that. No stops. It's a biotech. This news to me sounded not that promising. Sounded kind of fluffy. So bearish scenario for CBAY. This can just come right through that spaghetti stick, crack it in half, head all the way down, back to 4, maybe back to 3. But maybe this thing can continue to head up, maybe test 520 or 540. Most likely, in my opinion, I see it coming down. But that's it. That's an analysis of the 4 stocks that are hot right now today. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. If you're new, guess what? You're a little bit closer to retiring young. And I finally cleaned my screen. Look at the shine. It's beautiful shine.